1019 from WNBF. Let's go back to the phones. Michael Vasquez joins us, political analyst and commentator. Michael, good morning. You're on here with us. How are you today?
You're having a great show.
Well, thank you. It's certainly interesting. I every time I do this, I learn something. I'll tell you that.
That's for sure. And just as a side note, for some people, I know Miguel Vasquez was just on. It's fantastic. It's not me with an accent.
I wasn't sure at first, but how about that? Yeah. So.
Yeah, I know Matt Ryan does that, and a few others, but no, I don't play that game. I'm always me. But I just love the coincidence. It's funny.
Back-to-back calls too. How about that?
Yeah. When I heard about that, I was like, wow, that's funny. You couldn't time that on purpose.
I know.
But why I did want to call is, and I wanted to switch gears from where some of the callers have been today, because I think it's very serious and it's not getting enough attention. Again, we're seeing this hypocrisy that's going on. That's part of this identity politics that we see going on in our nation right now. They're attacking "Baby It's Cold Outside," a song relatively innocent. It's talking about flirtation. It's a happy song. It's a playful song. And you're hearing them say, well, this is horrible because it's against women and it's about the toxic male masculinity. And it's funny when I hear them say that, because these very same people, top 40 song from 2018, Post Malone, it's called Rockstar. You can't even play it on your show because it has so much vulgarity in it. It promotes using women as objects. It promotes taking drugs. If you see the video, it promotes violence. So this is what they're looking to promote. No one has mentioned, oh, we have to take Post Malone and ban him from the radio. No. They want to go to a 1940s song that's playful and say, no, that's toxic. How's that toxic when you have Post Malone and other top 40 songs that are literally talking about using women as an object, but this guy saying, hey, baby, why don't you stay a little bit longer because I'm flirting with you. So that's the comparison we're looking at. And this is the comparison that's being put out to our kids today. And it's what I like to, I look at it as, this is compelled speech. Compulsion by removing any option. And that's dangerous. I think that's incredibly dangerous.
I just am amazed that people have enough time to go back and examine some of these things and determine that what was innocent for decades now is suddenly bad.
Well, you notice they always do these things when it circles around some other event. So the song is tied to Christmas, and they don't like Christmas because that's religious, and that goes against identity politics. They tie it towards New Year's or 4th of July or election. They tie it to these other events, and they try and find these signature ideas to attack with this new progressive ideology of identity politics. And say, see, this justifies what we're saying. You're so evil you don't even know about it, and we have the right answer. And this isn't targeted towards us. I'm too old. I'm 50. Roger, you're around my age.
Oh, yeah, probably a year or two older.
Yeah, they're giving up on us.
On the best day.
Yeah. But they've given up on us. They don't care about us. They're looking at what we saw in this last election. They're looking at the youth vote. Those kids in the colleges who've been trained from, and we've seen this with Common Core on a consistent basis, look at the questions that they get asked and how they're asked to report. They're being trained to believe, to have a singular thought process, to not have a compelled or constructive thinking. What they're looking to show these kids is you have a compelled thought. There is no other thought besides the one they're giving you. You know what this sounds like? And you describe it and you go through it and analyze it. You know what it keeps sounding like? You only have our thought. There's only one way to think. You would say maybe it's like a cult, but actually no. This is the worst kind of propaganda that we hear from some of the most horrendous authoritarian governments that we've seen throughout history. They always say, well, everything else is bad except what we're telling you.
Well, Michael, I mean, what you're saying, I think, makes a lot of sense, because There's almost, well, there isn't almost, there is a movement that if, it's if you don't, my side is the only way that it is, you're wrong and you have no right to your side or belief. And if it's not politically correct, then you're some kind of a heinous person. That is right, because those people are the most vocal.
Well, you hear it all the time, Roger. I mean, think about it. And I've had this happen to me personally. Oh, you're black, you're Hispanic. You're required to be a Democrat. You must be liberal. And if you're not, you are evil. You have done something to your race because I made an intelligent choice based on my views and my understanding of the issues. That's a terrible thing to say. We've seen them on various of the major news media networks live telling people, you voted for Donald Trump, you're a Nazi. They have said this. You are a Nazi because you voted for a belief when you had choices of candidates and you picked the best choice you thought was best.
Isn't it ironic though that in essence what they have been fighting for, they then, by being that way, immediately contradict?
They don't even try. It's what I call the dog and pony show, and I think a lot of pundits call it that. We're going to put out this little show, a little dance for you. It'll sound really great, and it's there to completely distract you from the fact of what we're actually trying to do. Oh, you should be upset with this song, Baby Come Outside, It's Cold Outside, and you should reject that because we're here to protect you. Meanwhile, they're allowing Post Malone to talk about the objectification of women and use of drugs, illegal drugs, and greed and everything else that they hate. But it's okay because they have a message. And as long as you start following their message, you're okay. As long as you do what they say, you're fine. And everyone else is evil and wrong and horrible because they don't do what they're being told. Mm-hmm. We have to watch out for this. We have to look at it. It's the little things. It may not be the biggest political news. China's a big deal. I agree. But this little thing is important because it's not here for you and me and those of us who are 50 and above. It's for those who are 20 and below to teach them, do what we say or else. Mm-hmm. And we really need to speak out about that.
It's an indoctrination process from a young age, yeah.
Yeah, and we're seeing it all over the news. It's pressed all over the place with these identity politics that are absolutely insane and absurd, and they don't even follow their own rules.
Well, so I was saying that by contradicting, in other words, if you don't believe what they're saying, you're immediately wrong, then that eradicates the belief in free speech that they're trying to get and say. So the immediate consequence is that if you don't agree with what in other words, if I believe in a certain way and somebody else disagrees, I don't have the right to my thought because they automatically realize that they are much smarter, much brighter, and the way it should be. But in essence, what they've been fighting for to be able to say that is immediately contradicted by shutting the door on my belief. So it doesn't make any sense.
That's what they're saying. And it's scary. And you know what? And I'm not picking on them, but I want to use this as an example. Since I'm black and I'm Hispanic, and the identity politics say that I must be right, and I have to be judged as right. There are certain other callers who have a different political point of view, which I respect and I enjoy, for the most part. I don't agree, but I enjoy that they speak out. See, now, if they want to counter this, the first problem they have is, by that same identity politics ideology, they can't argue with me. Because according to their ideology, I must be right, which is stupid. Anytime that you have to isolate people or limit people to being right or wrong only, specifically because of not the content or the information, but because of the way that you feel about that information, then we've done something wrong because they, by their own ideology, they can't argue with me just because of the color of my skin that I was born with, because I have a good tan for all my life. They're prevented from being able to say, well, I disagree, unless they make me evil. And that's ridiculous. Mm-hmm. This is why this is a problem. And this is just one example. It's a symptom of the bigger core issue. We really need to look at that reach. We really need to talk about that.
Sure. Michael, thank you for your input today. Always good to talk to you. Appreciate that.
Always, Roger. I love it.
You take care. Thank you. Michael Vasquez, political analyst. Your thoughts on his comments or whatever else you have on your mind today. We're opening the lines up.